name is Jennifer Abadi with createwithjen.com. I'm here today to show you a quick card for a friend that is super simple, doesn't require a lot of equipment. I have a lot of stuff, and sometimes I realize that if you don't have as many, that I've been collecting for a long time, if you don't have as many tools or equipment as I do, that it could look overwhelming. So this card that we're going to do is really just stamps, ink, and paper. So let's go ahead and get started. The stamp set, let me turn you down here to our work surface, and I'll show you the stamp set we're going to use. Okay, stamp set we're going to use is the Stampin' Up! Love What You Do stamp set. It's got this nice watercolor wash that we're going to use. We're going to use this piece here, as well as this I'm lucky to have a friend like you sentiment. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our card base. We are going to use white, Whisper White cardstock for that. And I want to cut it down this way. Oops, something on this one. Looks like I got some adhesive on that. Let's go ahead and use this side instead. Cut this here to 5.5. Put this piece aside, we're going to use it after. And then let's go ahead and drag both of these down and score it at 4.25. I love the Stampin' Up! Tripper because it has the scoring blade and the cutting blade all on one surface. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put this aside for now. And we're going to cut another piece of this at 3 3/4, and I will put all the cutting dimensions on my blog for you. 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Always move my blade down and cut up, because this piece here sticks up and it will keep your paper from moving when you're cutting it. So that's 2 3/4, and I'm actually going to cut another one of those because the stamp that we're using doesn't always look the way I want it to on the first try, so I want to have a backup just in case we need it. So we'll put those aside for now. Then we're going to cut, we'll do all our cutting first and get it out of the way. So that's the boring part. Then we're going to cut some basic black. I'm going to cut 4 inches. And then 3 inches this way. Put that one aside. And I'm going to use a piece of designer series paper from the Share What You Love specialty designer paper pack. It's got some beautiful pieces. They are all double-sided. I like that stripe. But we're going to go ahead and use this floral piece today. So I'm going to cut a piece 1.5 inches. And I'm going to cut this, I want it to be the length of the card front, but sometimes I don't cut as precisely as I'd like to. So I'm going to shimmy it down a little and make it just slightly larger than 5.5. That way I can trim it off when I adhere it instead, and I'll ensure that it doesn't have a little piece that sticks over the edge, because I do not like that. All right. So now let's take our card base and grab your bone folder, and you fold towards the hill, away from the valley. That's how we get these perfect pieces all the time. Go ahead and score that down. And we're going to put this aside. This is just our card base here. Let's take our white now and go ahead and do the stamping. So I'm going to use this big watercolor blotch image from the stamp set, and we're going to use the Rich Razzleberry. Okay, so the rich raspberry is darker than I really want this to look when it's a finished product. So we're going to stamp off first. So go ahead and ink it up really well. It's a big solid stamp, so you really have to make sure we get it all. I was a little bit messy here. I'm going to wipe this up so we don't get that all over the place. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and put it down here and just rub over the whole stamp lightly. Pick it up and put it aside. See how dark that is? That's not what I'm looking for. So now take the piece that we cut earlier and do the same thing, just kind of center it and then rub the whole stamp. Even use your bone folder. See the difference between the two? And this is much more what I'm going for. Something kind of more, a lighter, more washed look. So I'll put that aside. And then the next thing we want to do is get that floral stamp out here. And I'm going to go ahead and use this same block. And we're going to ink this up with the Memento Tuxedo Black. Place that right on this, like so. Perfect. And put that stamp aside. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is, let's do all our stamping. Let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment. So we're going to use this, I'm lucky to have a friend like you. It's from the same Love What You Do stamp set. So we're going to just ink that one up in black as well. And this is going to go on the inside of our card. Right about there. Perfect. Put that aside for a minute. Now we've done with all our stamping, we've done all our cutting. Now all that's left is for us to put it together. So bring back your basic black and get your snail adhesive. And this should be dry by now. So go ahead and put your adhesive on the back. Oh, I just made a mess. I should get my silicone craft sheet so I don't get adhesive all over the place. And stick that right in there in the center. And then let's grab this piece here. See, we didn't even need this other scrap of Whisper White. I think our watercolor blotch came out perfect the first time. Okay, so we're going to take our Designer Series paper and put our adhesive on it. Now, this is going to go right about here, and if you remember, we cut it a little bit bigger than we needed. So line it up at the top. And then press it in. And then we're going to go ahead and trim the back off a little. See how you could see that little piece of the paper coming out? Just trim that off, and then it's perfect. There's nothing I hate more than when you cut a piece like this and you get that little gap at the bottom where the background shows through. Do not like that. All right, so now we're going to take this piece here with our stamped image and the black mat. Put the adhesive on it. This goes right here. Perfect. And then we're going to take a piece of white twine and make a little bow. looks pretty good. I'm gonna trim the ends so they're a little bit more even. And get your glue dots. Got one right there. Stick it like that. Pull it up. The ribbon goes right about there. Little bow. And that's it. It's done. Super simple. Very fast, easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of tools. We had paper, ink, stamps, and this little piece of white twine. So we have a beautiful card to send to a friend. I'm lucky to have a friend like you who doesn't love to receive something in the mailbox other than bills. Thank you so much for joining me today. Head on over to my blog, createwithjen.com, for all of the cutting dimensions as well as a list of all the products that I used today. And I hope to see you next time.